The indigenous population is made up of 41 First Nations, from 10 recognized nations and the Inuit. Indigenous students are likely to change schools along the way, which involves complex transitions, especially when they go from a school in their community to one in the Quebec school system. The purpose of an audit was to determine whether the Ministère de l'Éducation and the school bodies audited have taken effective measures to improve the school-related factors in the educational success of Indigenous students attending the Quebec public elementary and secondary school system. The period covered by our audit work extends over 6 years, from the 2017 to 2018 to the 2022 to 2023 school year inclusively. In addition to conducting work in the Ministère de l'Éducation and gathering data on the 72 school bodies, we carried out more detailed work in 5 school bodies, 3 French and 2 English, as well as in some of the schools they oversee. The Cree and Kativik school boards, as well as the Naskapi school, were not selected because the legal framework is different. Nearly 20 years after identifying a gap in success rates of Indigenous students, the Ministère de l'Éducation is still doing little to help them succeed. Moreover, there is no strategy or action plan to guide the actions of school bodies, which has repercussions on the services provided to students. For example, Indigenous students do not receive sufficient support, nor is it adapted to their needs when they transition from a school in their communities to one in the Quebec school system. And yet, these students face cultural, pedagogical, and linguistic differences during these transitions. French language support is also lacking, even though the success completion of secondary 5 French courses is required to obtain a secondary school diploma. Then, despite the recommendations it received and the commitments it took, the Ministère de l'Éducation is doing little to provide Indigenous students with a safe and culturally relevant learning environment. It follows that, for instance, school staff do not receive sufficient training to understand the causes of certain behaviors and acquire the tools they need to better support Indigenous students in their educational path. In addition, few of the schools visited had hired a liaison officer to facilitate the bond of trust and encourage Indigenous students' engagement and motivation of Indigenous students. The amount paid by the Ministère de l'Éducation to support school bodies in their interventions to promote the perseverance and success of Indigenous students has quadrupled since 2017-2018, rising from $3.9 million to $16.1 million in 2022 to 2023. However, the funds intended for the success of Indigenous students are not allocated on the basis of regional needs and realities, and the funding methods do not allow for the implementation of sustainable actions. In light of these findings, the Auditor General made a number of recommendations in its report. See also the Sustainable Development Commissioner's observation on the issue. This is merely an overview of our work. To find out more, consult our website.